First of all, I'm Shirmiel Duncan. I am a business owner with Journey Together Childcare alongside my husband. I'm a wife. I'm a mom of 6 kids. My hair is gray. I don't know what. Yeah, thank you. But today I want to talk about my story and my journey in business. It's been a little difficult, to say the least, but how I got started is pretty much, we relocated from, I'll just say Illinois, the state of Illinois. I thought that this would be the best place for us to come, as I'm a native of Wisconsin. My husband's a native of Illinois. I'm like, we got to get out of y'all state, yeah. And stuff. So, but when we came here, we didn't have anything. We had things lined up, but we just never were able to obtain it once we landed here. So we started off in hotels, jumping from hotel to hotel, and luckily he had a family member that actually was going to school here. And so we were able to reside with her. We were all kind of cooped up. And so basically, we ended up getting our own home on the east side of Madison. I know there's a rivalry going on with the east and west side and things like that. But I am here to say the east side is the best side. I'm here to say. Yes. All right. So when we went to the east side, we resided in a place called the Madison. I don't know how many people are familiar with the Madison apartments on this side of town, on the east side of town. But it was a very, that's essentially where we got a good start and a good grounding for our family. My husband came across a leasing agent who told us about a lender who was able to work with us. It's always been our dream, especially mine, to own a daycare center, but I just never know how to go about doing it. Well, as I was working a 9-to-5 job, and I have I have several friends that own their own businesses and things like that, but this particular friend gave me a call and she said, I know somebody, or actually somebody came in here and they gave me their number because they're looking for somebody to go ownership with them in their daycare business, and I thought of you. And I said, thanks. I took it and I put it in my back pocket. So those 2 resources is what created a plan for us to become business owners. I worked at a medical transportation company here that's no longer in existence. I think it's a different company now, but I worked as a quality resolution specialist. As a quality resolution specialist, I was responsible for completing or investigating complaints when people couldn't get to their appointments and the clients filed complaints with the transportation company. After a while, the supervisors felt like I was inadequate at my job. So they paired me with quality resolution specialists like me, but they were veteran. They were there longer than me. At that time, they were like, well, there's nothing wrong with your work, period. Like, you are very good at your job. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I kind of figured that. So basically, they demoted me, and I ended up going back to customer service. And when I went to customer service, after I finished taking a call, it was then that I realized what I was worth. I decided that day was my last day working as a quality resolution customer service representative. So I walked home. And when I walked home, in the back of my mind, I was like, I do want to go ahead and get my business going and things like that. And my husband was like, well, this is a good time for you to go ahead and start looking at this. So I considered that confirmation. So I went into my backpack, I put all of my tools together, and I brought out those resources that I was given. When I put those resources together, that looked like me making phone calls to the person that my husband was given for a lender for us. And I went to, I called the lady that had her interest, wanted us to go co-owner with her. When I did that, she arranged for us to meet, and she arranged for us to meet at our clubhouse, but unfortunately we got stood up. And so it was a red flag there. At that time, my husband was a truck driver, and it was really inconveniencing to him. So then we ended up just kind of pushing it off, but then circling back to it, I was like, I'm just giving it another shot. So then I went and I called the same lady, and we at this time arranged to meet at her child care center. And when we met at her child care center, she had the most disgusting look on my face. I don't know what I did. I just never saw the lady because she stood us up, right? And so she had the most disgusting look on her face. And then she says, "What is your credit score?" How about we just focus on why I'm here? I'm like, let's work on that first. And so we discussed about what she was looking for and all of that good stuff. And so I got excited. My husband at that time, when she said that, he was kind of like done. He was like, let's go. So I was excited after the meeting. I called my friend and I told her everything, and she was just like, maybe you should do your homework first on them. So I did that. Went to the Department of Children and Families database, because you can see all the daycare information there. And lo and behold, when I pulled them up, they had a long list of violations and forfeitures. And this place in particular was the Allied Drive neighborhood. How many people are familiar with the Allied Drive neighborhood? Yeah. It has a very negative stigma. I didn't know any of that going into it. It became very difficult for us. And so we ended up with the building because they got evicted out of the building. Again, we didn't know anything about Allied Drive. We didn't know anything about the history of the building, but people thought we were the same people, just opening up a different business, because unfortunately that's what the other owners did. They were a business and kind of tanked and then did it again, and then we came in right behind them. I faced a lot of difficulties while trying to run my business there, and this whole rebrandishing was an issue. Like, that's when I learned essentially what rebrandishing meant. While we were rebrandishing, we gained several great employees, some and regular employees. We also gained a lot of good families. But then trouble came. We had people milking the clock just to kind of pull more money from the company. Well, we're newer in business. We couldn't afford that. And so ultimately, it became kind of a sabotage type thing. I felt very sabotaged. And I even had one employee say, she came to my face and said, "We wouldn't do this if you were a white daycare." My own culture come to me and say, "We wouldn't do this if you were a white daycare." That made me feel some type of way. And so I was just like, what am I doing any different than anybody else? I had people pulling their kids out of the program because they didn't want to pay a bill. Child care is not free. So today, I think what I want to happen is, we've been in business 6 years. Thank you. And what I want everybody to know is that I am a very reputable business, and I do urge anybody who's looking for childcare to help to support. We have our building is 7,200 square feet. It's a big building, but it's never been at capacity. It fits 93 people in there, or 93 kids, I'm sorry, but we've never been at capacity. And eventually, I'd like to see that happen. Yes. So, thank you.